As we talk about beautiful relationships, there is a book that is being launched
on Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah, we'll put a link. But it's a very good book from a beautiful author, and I just really love this book because it's talking about beautiful relationships.
Mm-hmm.
The relationships that we need to have.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
relationships that are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the author is asking, when do you know when to stop the relationship?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know this is the right relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Which ones are these relationships?
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the way she's gone deeper and just shared about relationship with myself.
Yeah.
Relationship with God.
Yeah.
Relationship with people. And it's just a go-to book. Everyone should just save a copy.
Relationship with money.
Relationship with money. How do you have a relationship with money? This is a local author. Let's support her. If you can be able to save a copy, just buy a copy. It's only going for 1,500 shillings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I would just encourage us to be able to buy this book and read on beautiful relationships.
Wow, I read this book and this is what I wrote about it. This is an amazing book. It is a masterpiece without exaggeration. I have really enjoyed reading it. Believe me, I read this book in one sitting. Not because I had the time, but because it was irresistible. I couldn't just drop it down. I could not entertain the suspense. It is too captivating, not to mention the insight and the wisdom that flow from it. And the other thing I love about this book is the span of the net. It captures all fish, the young and the old alike. What a talent. A big congratulations to my sister. We are so proud and very privileged to be part of this historic venture. We can't wait to see what God is going to do with this book.
Yes.
Beautiful
relationships. So, save the date, 7th of October in Nairobi at the Alliance Francaise. Yeah, at 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
Yep.
So please, you can be able to come. The entrance is free. You just come in, learn, and save, and live with a book. That is just gonna be amazing. Thank you so much for your support. Always, if you've not subscribed, please subscribe down there. We are always grateful that we can be able to have you as our family of Lapis Lazuli.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Welcome back to our channel. This is Mike.
And I'm Liz Odwallo. We are so grateful once again to be able to be here and just be able to share as we continue. We always say Jesus is our firm foundation, and He keeps us going on a daily basis. Despite what we go through, we always love by beginning by telling us, Jesus is our firm foundation. He is our strength. He keeps us going.
Yes, we are grateful to be back today because as we promised, we would want to continue on the red flags in relationships.
And we love just really appreciating what God does for us. Always being grateful for life, being grateful for who we are. So I don't know what you're going through, maybe even as you're joining our channel today, I want to promise you that everything is well with Christ.
Exactly. When we look at Genesis, God actually saw that man was so lonely. He said it's not good for man to be alone. Man and woman were meant to be together and to enjoy the relationship in a great way. But as life has it, over the time, there's been so much drift that what God intended for good has actually been a thorn in the flesh for some people and for many people actually. But we are saying that yes, we can drift from what is good, but we can also come back, because God is a God of second chances. He always gives us another opportunity to make it right. And so in a small way, we believe by talking about one or two things and by applying the biblical scriptures, then we can be able to regain that has been stolen and lost for a long time.
So last week we started talking about toxic relationships or red flags in a relationship. What to watch out? What are some of the red flags in a relationship?
Yeah.
And I know last week we talked about several flags that we need to watch out.
Yeah.
And when we see them, it's time to address the issues.
Exactly.
You know, and you know, one of the things we talked about is just the values. You know, where we must have the same values. We must have values that are helpful. So you can check back our, if you didn't see, watch that video. You know, but we talked about our values, you know, things like just boundaries, the boundaries that we set in a relationship, you know, and many other things. So today we start the next cohort of the group of the things that we'll talk about that are dangers or are red lights. And so, let's begin.
Yeah, today our first one in this list is lack of communication. Now, we are not saying that somebody does not know how to communicate, because communication is also something that we can get to learn. But here we are saying there is lack of it. And what brings lack of communication is when somebody somewhere is refusing to communicate. They are intentionally refusing to communicate.
Yeah.
And so the first question you ask yourself, why would somebody refuse to communicate? There are times when there are certain topics, if you just bring them up, they don't want to talk about it. They either brush you aside or they avoid some topics that are very important. Maybe you want to talk about job, or you want to find out their stability, but they just avoid. Maybe you want to find about their education background or something. They just don't want. You want to talk about their family. They are just not eager. They can talk about football. They can talk about movies. But there are certain topics
they're shallow.
They just don't want to talk about.
Yeah. So poor communication is the thing.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're in a relationship and there is poor communication, you feel like you're not getting through to someone.
Yeah.
You know, as you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, you feel like there are topics that they cause tension.
Yeah.
You know, when that topic just comes,
it's dropped like a hot potato.
Yeah, people don't want that topic. You know. Yeah, and as you're saying, topics like money. You know, money tells a lot.
Yeah.
You know, money tells a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and there are many other topics. And so what you're saying, a lack of open and honest communication.
Yeah.
And remember, we're saying open and honest communication is a red flag.
That is a red flag. And that leads us to the next one, which is close to it, when there are patterns of dishonesty.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is the lack of communication, which means somebody is very guarded and very limited with the information. They are very stingy with the information. They are selective because there is a reason. But here now we are talking about there is a pattern of dishonesty. There is a pattern of deceit. There is a pattern of lying. Now that is a red flag.
Yeah, and this erodes trust. You know, the moment you have deceit, you know, it actually makes our trust go. Exactly. You know, and that's why it's important for us to be honest in our relationship.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a weakness, like I'm trying to think, maybe I have a child.
Yeah.
I don't need to hide a child until the day that we are getting married.
Yeah.
You know, there are those things that it's okay to just be honest, and I don't need to lie because when you begin, remember we've always said that when you're building a relationship, you're laying the foundation.
Yeah.
And so if you're laying the foundation and you decide to lay the foundation on lies, then that becomes a building block in your relationship.
That's true.
You know, and so you keep building with that lie and remember, when you lie, you'll always have to work so hard
to cover it up.
So you'll always just live in lies, live to prove, or you just have to keep lying, one lie after another, one lie until one day you can't hide it anymore.
Yeah. Somebody, let me just, maybe you guys are in the city over the weekend, and somebody has disappeared the whole weekend. The phone was off, you are not hearing them. Kumbe, the guy has traveled up country. They have a wife up country. You have no idea. And after every one month or 2 months, the guy disappears somewhere. And then he comes back and he's telling you, oh man, I missed you, you are fine. But alikuwa amepotea, the phone was off, there was nothing. And you keep on, okay, today he says something, tomorrow another time, another day another thing. And you can actually tell that not all is well. There is a repeated pattern of dishonesty. Guess what?
It's time to talk about
I'm not trying to be faithless, but some of those things hardly change.
Those are red lights.
Those are red lights, and you better take cover or get some very serious help if you want that relationship to continue and get the desired results.
And the sad thing is sometimes we see these red flags. But we want to assume.
We ignore.
We want to ignore.
We become too...
you keep hoping that this person will change.
Exactly.
Let me tell you, if you don't deal with it, it's just an underlying problem. And it will catch up. It will catch up if you don't solve it.
Because what also happens, people also grow in lies.
Exactly.
So maybe when you guys met, this guy was not as such a liar.
As you're saying it.
Exactly.
You keep lying.
After 10 years, man, the guy now becomes a pro in lying. And now you can't deal with it anymore. So you just say, I cannot continue with this relationship.
Sadly.
Yeah.
So the next point is conflict resolution issues. Wow, conflict resolution, where we are not able, if we are not able to resolve our conflicts. Because I think there is, sometimes we talked about conflicts and we say conflicts are there.
Exactly.
Because we are all sinners. And so when you're in a relationship, we will find ourselves in a conflict.
Exactly.
So how we deal with conflict, if we are not able to resolve our conflicts, and we're not saying that every time we'll resolve and be good. There are conflicts that will take some time.
That's true.
There are conflicts that will be resolved there and there.
There are some you'll have to pack.
There are some that you'll have to pack until the right time, as we've said. But frequent and resolved conflict or inability to communicate well and resolve will be able to bring a big conflict. For example, when we, maybe somebody does something, and in your heart you keep it, and you don't talk about it.
Exactly.
And then tomorrow they do something else. You hope that they will change, but you're still remembering yesterday they did it. So you keep piling and piling and piling. What happens next? You blow up.
That's true.
Because of unresolved conflict.
Exactly. So we are saying that a healthy relationship should also have some healthy patterns that they follow.
Yes, very true.
If every time you meet with your fiancé or with your partner and there are conflicts, and when that conflict happens, it becomes bad. People walk out of each other, people bang the doors and bang the tables. You are in a restaurant and everybody is looking at you guys.
Somebody
walks away, and then tomorrow you come back, oh man, I'm sorry, I love you, and it continues. Another 3 weeks, the same. After another 1 month, the same. Let me tell you, that pattern most probably will continue when you get married. And that's why we are saying it is a red flag that there is somebody somewhere that maybe God has put that you guys are not gonna have so much conflict like that.
I'm actually trying to remember when we were dating, and there are some of those things we had to actually agree that these are things that will not, they are unacceptable. Especially even if you feel so angry, we will not walk away.
No bang tables.
We will not bang doors.
You're not gonna hit each other.
We agreed problem.
Not going to abuse each other.
You're abusive. There are words that are a no-no. We don't say that. We don't even want to think about them.
Yeah.
You know, like threats.
Yeah.
You know, things like threatening. You know,
Yeah.
when somebody keeps threatening,
Yeah.
mi ndakuacha,
Yeah.
mimi ndakuchapa, ndakugonga.
Yeah.
You know, and those are actually red lights.
Yeah.
You know, and those are the things that easily make our conflicts.
Yeah.
We don't resolve well.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things we believe is we have to respect one another.
Yeah.
You know, if we respect each other, when you met your spouse, they were adults. They had lived their lives at least 20 years.
Yeah.
So those 20 years, there is something, they are somebody.
Yeah.
So respect them. Even if you're correct them in a respectful way.
Yeah.
And not, you know, resolve issues in a very negative way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's very important for us to resolve our conflicts.
Exactly. Now, I would want to add this to those of us who are parents or are guardians, and you know, sometimes our children, because they are young in love and they are, you know, they are trying to grow. And you can actually see from an adult's point of view perspective, you can actually see that my daughter is taking the wrong direction. They are entangled with this man, or the man is entangled with this woman, and you can see the pattern. Every time, every weekend, your daughter comes, she's crying. Your son comes, he's crying. And they are barely in that relationship. That is somebody you'd want to sit down and tell, you know what, I have my best interest for you, but I can see there are some red lights here. There are some red flags that are being, you know, waved, and you better just stop.
Yeah. So talk to your children. Let's talk to them. I think just being able to converse.
Exactly, and encourage them to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Finally, lack of accountability.
Yeah. This is a huge one, because marriage that works is marriage where both of us are accountable to each other.
True.
I allow you to hold me accountable, and you allow me to hold you accountable.
Yeah. And also just being able to take responsibility. Yeah, where as a couple, we are people who agreed to, you know, everyone sees themselves.
Exactly.
You know, and I don't keep blaming. You know, there are times you can be in a relationship and we keep blame shifting. You know, this relationship is not working because of you. You know, this happened because of you. You know, you are always like this. You know, blame shifting does not help. And it's a red light. So we are saying that it's important for us to take responsibility, and we are able to be accountable to each other. You know, that is what mature relationships is all about.
Exactly. You know, accountability denotes maturity, and actually it denotes a sense of responsibility. The Bible tells us that two are better than one.
True.
Because they are able to help each other. Some of us, we would only want to be helped when things are good, and when things are going rosy, and when things are going the way we want them to go. Anything opposite, we detest, we resent, and we do not want it. In a relationship that is healthy, that is desired to achieve certain goals or has some great vision, we must be accountable to each other. When you are late at night to come back home, I should feel free to interrogate and find out, sweetheart, where have you been? What happened? What time did you leave the meeting exactly? Because there are things that you will only be at peace when you get to know the depth, what happened. And not because I'm doubting you or anything, but anything can happen. So it is just important that we allow each other to be free to interrogate even our finances, interrogate our debts and all these things. Be ready and be willing to be held accountable.
Very true. Yeah, so it's important for us to learn to take responsibility, and also expect one another to take responsibility. You know, when we are in a relationship, we all have roles. You know, so where everyone takes their role and takes responsibility. You know, and taking responsibility is where, when I'm wrong, I can even be able to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for, you know, it's red lights when somebody is wrong and they don't want to accept that they are wrong. So we are saying that it's important for us to just be able to learn to take responsibility, be accountable to one another, and that are some of the points that we had to be able to share. So as you're saying, when there are red lights, it's time for us to just be alert and ask ourselves, you know, that's like a crossroad. You know, when you find yourself, there are too many red lights in the relationship, that's a crossroad. Stop, look, and ask and make a decision.
Amen. And so we hope that in a small way will help us to be able to just get to have a few key points that will help us identify the red lights, deal with the red lights accordingly, and God willing that He will give us the wisdom to be able to deal with it.
As we talk about beautiful relationships, there is a book that is being launched on Saturday. We'll put a link. But it's a very good book from a beautiful author, you know, and I just really love this book because it's talking about beautiful relationships, the relationships that we need to have, the relationships that are beautiful. You know, actually the author is asking, when do you know when to stop the relationship? You know, how do you know this is the right relationship? Which ones are these relationships? You know, and I really like the way she's gone deeper and just shared about relationship with myself. Relationship with God, you know, relationship with people, you know, and it's just a go-to book. You know, everyone should just save a copy.
Relationship with money.
Relationship with money. You know, how do you have a relationship with money? You know, this is a local author. Let's support her. If you can be able to save a copy, just buy a copy. It's only going for 1,500 shillings. So I would just encourage us to be able to buy this book and read on beautiful relationships.
Wow, I read this book and this is what I wrote about it. This is an amazing book. It is a masterpiece without exaggeration. I have really enjoyed reading it. Believe me, I read this book in one sitting. Not because I had the time, but because it was irresistible. I couldn't just drop it down. I could not entertain the suspense. It is too captivating, not to mention the insight and the wisdom that flow from it. And the other thing I love about this book is the span of the net. It captures all fish, the young and the old alike. What a talent. A big congratulations to my sister. We are so proud and very privileged to be part of this historic venture. We can't wait to see what God is going to do with this book.
Yes.
Beautiful
relationships. So, save the date, 7th of October in Nairobi at the Alliance Francaise. At 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So please, you can be able to come. The entrance is free. You know, you just come in, learn, and save and live with a book. You know, that is just gonna be amazing. Thank you so much for your support. Always, if you've not subscribed, please subscribe down there. We are always grateful that we can be able to have you as our family of Lapis Lazuli. Okay guys, so thank you so much. It's really been amazing just having you listening to us. And I don't know if you can think of any red light that maybe we've not even addressed. You can comment, you can let us know. It's always, we like engaging with one another. Because this is what we've seen. You know, but we would also like to hear from you. You know, what do you think? What are some of these red lights? So that we can also empower one another and see how can we help each other to be able to have great relationships, or as we said last week, beautiful relationships. So thank you so much, everyone. We love you. Please subscribe if you've not subscribed. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
Casting crowns, lifting hands, bowing hearts.